actor who I had the great fortune to have known for many years. He's an accomplished actor on stage at venues all over town, and you can read about him in the program. Nick, I don't see you, but I'm going to welcome you to the stage. Oh, there you are.
All right, I'm a great believer in marriage. I have been married since 1966 to 4 different women. And my last marriage, which is a really good one, I've been married for almost 30 years now, to a woman called Jenny. And when we got married, we were both in our mid-40s. And although I already had a child from a previous marriage, we wanted to have our own family. And this was a bit of a challenge because time is against you. And, you know, we needed children now. And when you're a couple and you need children, there's only one thing you can do. And we did that with enormous effort and enjoyment. And nothing happened. And so the next thing is to find out why nothing happened. So I had to go off for a sperm test. And this was in Manhattan in February. And I had an audition on the Upper West Side at 10:30 in the morning, and then I had to deliver my sperm to a fertility clinic on East 37th Street at 11:45. And the problem was that I couldn't carry my sperm around all day because it has to be fresh. And if it's too cold, sperm dies, which meant that I had to do this deed between these 2 appointments, which is how I ended up jerking off in the men's room of Grand Central. And to make matters worse, the only receptacle that I'd come up with that day to carry my precious bodily fluids in was a Hellmann's mayonnaise jar, which is a big jar. So I did my duty. I thrust the jar into my pocket. I ran off to the fertility clinic. There were like 4 guys sitting in the waiting room. Nobody looks at anybody else. I walk up to the receptionist and I go, "I'm here for the sperm test." "Yeah, well, fill out the form here." She gives me a clipboard. I go, I fill it out, I bring it back. She looks over it and goes, "Yeah. So you got your specimen with you?" I bring out the... And she looks at it and she goes, "That's it?" All 4 men look up. It turns out that my sperm is, in fact, in the words of the doctor, adequate, which puts us into the world of turkey basters. Now, this meant that whenever Jenny was ovulating, she had to take a small brown specimen bottle with my sperm and rush off to the doctor's. Naturally enough, the first time she did this, the bottle opened in her pocket. The doctor scraped out her pocket. If a child was ever born of this procedure, it would be covered in lint. I mean, no matter what we did, nothing worked, which left us with only one option, which was adoption. And I was worried about adoption because I already had a kid, and would I connect to a child that wasn't mine? Well, you know, well, but we were set on this, so we got ourselves an adoption lawyer. And in California, it's an open adoption state, which means that the birth mother gets to choose to whomever she wishes to give her baby. And this lawyer had a 16-year-old girl who was pregnant called Amy. And Amy had already had 1 child at the age of 13 and dropped out of school and was now pregnant again and was prepared to give us her child. Now, at the time, I had been on Broadway in a musical called Me and My Girl, and it was now on the road, and we were playing the Pantages Theatre. And one night, halfway through the show, a friend of mine, Jeff Murray, shows up to say that Amy has gone into labor, Jenny is on her way to the airport, she's flying to South Carolina. And this was the day, obviously, before cell phones. So somebody actually had to come and tell you stuff. So she flies there, and the next day, this little girl is born actually into her hands at the time of about 4:30 in the afternoon. I do the show that night. Jenny calls to say that she's managed to get a flight the next day. It will be arriving at 11:15. So that night I go to the theater and I say to the cast of me and my girl, I say, look, I've got to get to the airport tonight at 11:15 because my new daughter is arriving on a plane. So can we step it up tonight? So that night, this musical was the fastest thing you've ever seen. People dancing double time, talking double time. The stage door guy had my car literally waiting, running outside the door. I left the thing, threw off my costume, jumped into the car, drove out to LAX. And of course, in those days, before security, you could go right the way through the terminal, right up to the gate. And I get to the gate, and I sit down, and there's nobody there, there's nothing. And I wait, and in the silence, in that awful neon light, I start to panic. This incredible panic overcomes me about what if I do not connect to this child? I mean, what kind of father am I going to be? Should I fake it? I mean, why did I do that? What have I got myself into? What is wrong with me? Why, this is going to blow everything. Our marriage will blow up. I'll be a terrible father. The plane rolls in. I sit there, I can't even get out of the seat. And I wait, and then the door to the gate opens, and instead of all the passengers coming out, flight attendants start coming out 2 by 2. And they come out, and they're in this V shape. And in the middle of the V is Jenny carrying this tiny baby. And she comes up to me in this airport and places the baby in my hands. And I look down, and I just fall in love. And all my fears disappeared. The challenge was met. And we all won. Thank you.